I think what's really, really important here is like there are people today who are like, Nylander, I think, said post game, I like the fact that this team is confident enough to know that we can come back. And there are people rightly criticizing that because you don't want to fall down that far. And I get that.
Right.
And you had Sheldon Keefe say after the game there was some stuff here that was like unforgivable, but unacceptable. And given what's happened, I'm glad that we got the point or whatever. So let's explain for context why the Leafs it was probably the first period of that game might have been their worst of the entire year. Why?
Oh, easily.
What's going on?
So, William Lagesson, Ilya Samsonov, and Matthew Nyes now have all missed time recently due to illness. When that happens, it means, in my opinion, my assumption, my educated guess, the majority of the team is playing at less than 100%. I've also gotten the impression it's more than one illness making its way through the team. It could be a flu. It could be the poo. It could be the flu that gives you the poo. But these guys, I think, are like, I'm willing to bet more than one of them puked yesterday.
So just
had an IV bag.
To put it in context, like Matt Tkachuk had a broken sternum and played hockey. So how sick, you got to think about this. How sick do you have to be to miss it?
Well,
and Matt Nyes has missed 2 games.
I mean,
and I know it's not the Stanley Cup final, but you're a rookie missing 2 games. It's not because you want to.
Kachuk also wasn't terribly effective with a broken sternum.
No.
I think that's pretty.
But the point I'm making is hockey players don't traditionally like to miss it, and they're always managing injury,
right?
And illness.
It's the regular season, and there's nowhere to hide, right? Like one injured player you can hide in your lineup. If you have like half a lineup that's cramping up, or they don't have as much energy as usual, the amount of mental brain farts they were making yesterday,
sloppy passing, lots of giveaways.
It didn't worry me because we knew about the illness thing, and also it was so uncharacteristic of them, given how they've played recently.
Mm-hmm.
The Max Domi brainless pass and Noah Gregor blowing the zone, and Samsonov was awful. That was Lagesson's worst game as a Leaf, in my opinion. And he's been
some penalties that were out of character for him.
Well, and I don't know if he's going to get a hearing or anything. But
for the lining thing, I don't think so.
I don't know.
I don't think that was an intentional slew foot.
No.
It didn't seem intentional.
Like Brad Marchand's was a direct can opener, and it wasn't even a penalty.
Oh.
So I doubt that.
If Lagesson gets a suspension for that, I'm going to be like,
Brad Marchand.
Yeah, but I think we're past that.
Yeah. No, we would have heard about that. I don't think that's. I think that's unfortunately, and I know Blue Jackets fans are going to hate me for this, and I would hate me for this. I do think that was just an accident. I really do. Lagesson is tough, but he's not cheap. He's not dirty. Like
not
in a bad way.
I know of.
Yeah, not that I've seen. So anyway, I just don't. It's
the Leafs were dragging ass.
Yeah, they were dragging ass.
And it's because they're sick.
Yeah, and if they had played a bunch of games that looked like that recently, I would have hammered them. Mm-hmm. But I'm like, they're 9-3 no, they're not. They're 9-1-3 heading into that game over the last 13 games.
Last time they lost in regulation was early November.
That's crazy. And Sheldon Keefe even said earlier in the day. It sounded like he wanted to make, or it sounded like a bunch of guys were game time decisions.
Right, and I think only the Flyers have a better record since the start of November.
Isn't that? Yeah, and it's not even like the sickness is I think the biggest issue, but it's also Nick Kypreos and Justin Bourne said it a million times on the broadcast. The schedule loss. You're coming off the road trip. This is the team that sucks. You're going into the big matchup on Saturday with Pittsburgh. You usually struggle in this game, and they did. Mm-hmm. And they came out flat as expected because of everything that went on top of that. And it was just the dad's trip. I'm sure they had no fun in New York with their dads. And then coming back from that road trip, you're back home, quick turnaround game, Columbus. You're sick on top of all of that. It makes sense that you struggle in this game.
You know what's funny, Jesse? I think there's legitimately something to what you just said about the dad's trip, because after that, those back-to-back games, Tavares hits 1,000, then you win the next night. It's New York. Ty Domi's there. He was on the Rangers. He has connections.
They went to bed early.
Yeah, so they all went out. I don't think it was just
Steve. They went to bed at 9:30.
Well, if they did, I'm sure they all got together in the same hotel room and watched a movie. And when they did, they all gave each other a cold. and that made them sicky poo.
No, Ty Domi, the most well-connected man in North America, didn't have a good time.
Yeah, you saw Ty Domi in that picture with Tom Brady and Cher.
He's everywhere.
At the casino. Yeah, Ty Domi is a very, very smart businessman. He also brings people together. He's like he's like the guy that's like, hey, you should meet this person. That's Ty.
How long until we see him receive a medal from Joe Biden?
I don't think it's. I mean, I don't know if that's. I'm not sure if he's at that
Couple
level yet,
weeks.
but I'm sure that's
be.
his ambition. That's the thing about this guy. He's like, he's an ambitious person. I think. Why not?
I'm so happy Max is in the organization.
Yeah,
Like, it's fun.
It's kind of cool.
He also is really good. Like I know that.
Yeah.
Not in 3-on-3. Holy shit.
Yeah, not 3-on-3. But I don't think he didn't have a great game last night. That giveaway, one of his giveaways led to a goal. But I do have to say, $3 million for your third line center. And I know Steve keeps saying, well, he won't become playoff and whatever. I really like that line. Robertson again last night.
I'm starting to believe.
Merzlikins made an incredible save on Nick Robertson. And I'm like, that guy, one of these days, he's going to go on a streak where he scores in 5 straight games. It's coming.
I hope so. He gets demolished every game.
But the point was the sickness, everything on top of that. It makes sense that the Leafs are going to struggle in this game.
And when did the Leafs kick ass? Exactly, when they were standing stock still. 6-on-5.
Yeah.
So the less they had to move, the better they were.
Couple goals from Samsonov that I think you wish you could have back, but I also think he might be sick.
The one JT hated.
Man, that was the third one, I believe. The one that was behind the goal line. It's just limply backhanded, and Samsonov knocks it into his own net with his blocker.
And then the next one is off the mask and through his 5-hole. I've never seen that at the NHL. Off his mask and through the 5-hole?
It was a video game goal.
Yeah,
you're
everyone's
supposed to go in.
Everyone hates Ilya. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel for
nothing
him,
going his way.
There is nothing. That seemed like a little bit of bad luck. I want to say this, though. Apparently, it's Corey Sanford, right?
Curtis
Sanford, who is the goaltending coach for the Leafs. He apparently behind the scenes was like to Sheldon Keefe, don't you dare pull him. Don't you dare pull him. You put him in for the third. And
why?
Because he wanted Samsonov to have the chance to finish the game because it's a confidence thing. Guys, listen, Sammy has been dealing with an illness. We know that. He might have been one of the first guys to get it because he was off for a couple of days before sort of everybody else.
Week, yeah.
But the struggles that Ilya Samsonov has had this year it's not like a regression of talent. He hasn't gotten worse. Goaltending is a mental position,
and
it's
dueled Vasilevsky in a playoff series.
It's a confidence thing.
Less than a year ago.
And so what they're trying to do right now is build up his confidence, and that's why Curtis Sanford was like, "Hey, keep him in there." And I think if you're him, you got to feel really good about how the third period went. And for Sammy, why not? He shut the door when they.
I don't think he's thinking that way right now. And that's why. So some people thought it was stupid that Samsonov didn't talk to the media after the game.
Oh no, he shouldn't be.
No,
He's
I
not there yet.
I don't think he should be. Because it's one thing if you haven't heard it all before. I don't need to hear it from him. He's got the Jack Campbell big time in the worst way, where Jack would get in front of a mic and win or lose. When he wasn't doing his Gosh G. Willikers bit, he was talking about how bad of a goalie he is.
Jack Campbell is literally Eeyore.
Yeah.
When he talks to the media. It's not great.
And it got to the point where I was like, Jack, fuck, can you not?
Even when they won, he would be ridiculous. And it was like, Jack, chill out.
Yeah. And Ilya is the same way if you pay attention. And he does it with some humor because his English is limited. What did you want him to say after that he hasn't already said?
Yeah. And I think you look for the Leafs to try to protect this guy because you should believe in Ilya Samsonov's talent. We've seen it. Yeah. We saw it in Washington, and then we saw what happened when his confidence was shaken in Washington. It was so bad that they didn't even tender him because they wanted to bring in Darcy Kemper.
Yeah.
And then the Leafs really benefited from that last year. He was spectacular last year.
$1.8 million last year.
And frankly, this year, it's not been up to snuff, but I do think this is a confidence thing. People this is the thing with NHL goalies, especially. It's what do you think happened? You think they just got bad all of a sudden?
You think they forgot how to play hockey?
Yeah, no. It's all in your noggin. So I feel like he's got some time to figure it out. It's only mid-December. You can figure it out.
I gave it to Merzlikins yesterday, but he's a 909 on the season on Columbus. So he's an above league average goalie on one of the worst teams in the league. Like, that's pretty good. He didn't forget how to play hockey. He was just going through it.